just wow on the comment that I'm about to read to you all. Abuse enabler much, ignorant much, shameful much, shaming much. Like there's so much to unpack in this one comment that was on a video where I was talking about how my mother did not take care of me when I was sick as a child. And what you chose to do, ma'am or sir or other, I don't know who you are, what you chose to do was try to, you know what, I'm going to read the comment because I'm a little speechless right now. I'm not triggered. I'm just, I think disgusted might be the word on this one. And I get a lot of really off the mark, victim shaming and blaming comments. I get a lot, you know, the trolls, and we know that the trolls tend to be people who are, if they don't have MPD, they're pretty close to it. And there's been studies done about this. So when I say we, that's not my perspective on it. That's documented studies that have been done on people who blindly put comments on other people's content in an attempt to invalidate, enable abuse, silence them, all those sorts of things. I'm not saying that's who you are. I'm just saying that you really should take a moment, take a beat, and educate yourself before you come on the platform of a survivor of a narcissistic family system, so that you can understand that there are people, and how you missed this boat, I don't know, that are literally, actually, intentionally cruel in this world. And how you don't understand that is mind-blowing to me. I mean, the prisons are filled with people who say their children and other people's children, and serial killers and psychopaths, both female and male, and yet you don't seem to grasp that a mother who's just another female can be intentionally cruel to their child and want to understand deeper, you know, why they do what they do, in order for me to have understanding for her. I'm going to read the comments. Sorry, I'm delaying. I'm just still kind of stunned, and I'm doing this really fresh. So I've read the comment twice now to kind of go, did you really say that? And now I'm going to share it with all of you. Here we go. Let's get into it. It is very sad to see blame being assigned without deeper investigation. If a mother behaves this way to her child, it is a direct mirror of the neglect she received herself. It is generational and societal, a reflection of hardship and anxiety, not disinterest or hatred. I hope instead of taking it personally, the youth can become strong enough to gently let them know that they are loved, as this may trigger a memory from before their abuse and increase the chance that the bridge of connection be built. We all need to develop and practice the experience of love and kindness first before we are able to give this to others. Please remember this. And I think this is your signature. Life is an art. Take time to practice it. So I'm going to go in pieces here because I have to go in pieces. By your logic, I should have done the same thing to my children that my mother did to me. Can you tell me what wound it is exactly that she is reflecting back at me when she dropped me out of a 2-story window? I was around 5 or 6 years old and she tried to unalive me. Can you explain that to me? By your logic, I should be doing, or should have done, the same thing to my children. I have 3 adult children. By your logic, my wounds and every single person's wounds from their childhood should be something that then gets inflicted on the next generation of children, that there is no in between there. Do you understand that's what you're saying? Or that's how it comes across? It's actually a bit word salady, and we all know, like, well, a lot of us know what kind of word salad, like what type of personality embraces this kind of double talk and ridiculousness. There are a plethora, myself included, of cycle breakers out there who aren't blaming their parents, but rather looking for accountability. I don't look for accountability in my mother. She is a literal sociopath. I don't look for what I know I'm never going to receive. And even if I did receive it, it would mean nothing to me because behavior has to change for me to be able to have meaning from that. And trust would have to have the possibility of being built, which, given the fact that she tried to unalive me, not just physically, but more importantly, my soul, my being, my self-esteem throughout my entire childhood, through neglect and intentional abuse. And neglect is also abuse and is intentional as well. But there are other layers to it. Like, knowing that your child at 9 years old is experiencing CSA, sending her back to the person who is doing that to her, and then telling her she's a tramp and damaged goods because you know what she's doing. Telling a 9-year-old she's only good for one thing, and I had no idea what that meant. I just knew it was bad. That, you might be right on that being her wound and how she looked at me as a sexual object. I'll give you that one. Because her father, my grandfather, was a child molester, and my grandmother was the person who lured me in and facilitated that. So therefore, she, by default, is also a child molester. So the way my mother perceived me is a reflection of her wounds. Her choices to abuse me is a reflection of the piece of garbage of a person that she is. Because all of those wounds that I went through made all of those abuses, all of those things that created the wounds that I still carry, they live in my body. My body remembers what happened to me, even when my mind doesn't. Made me want to make sure that I insulated and protected my children so they would never feel that kind of fear or pain for a millisecond in their lives. I almost feel like I need to read the next line again, but I just don't have the bandwidth. You know what? I need to take a little drink here, so hold on. It's pretty much how I feel about the next comment. There is no way on the planet, in the universe, that a child, I'll go from my perspective, who is being abused isn't going to take it personally. When your very first love, which is my mother, became my very first bully, in utero, she had no choice but to show me nurture and care. And so, like all children, I was born loving her, in love with her. She was my everything. Because in utero, she was my everything. When she carried me in her body and didn't have a choice, she was my everything. And she chose to treat me like I was her nothing. How do you not take that personally when your first life lessons are that your mother literally, actually hates you? Your statement is ridiculous. And I just don't even know what I gotta look at what you wrote about this, because I want to answer it properly. I'm already answering it properly, don't get me wrong, very properly. But I really want to get into this because you really are a person who either lacks empathy or you're just plain ignorant. I don't know which, maybe both. I hope instead of taking it personally, the youth can become strong enough to gently let them know they are loved, as this may trigger a memory from before their abuse and increase the chance that the bridge of connection be built. Do you know what you're saying there? Because I kind of don't. Children who are intentionally abused by the people who are supposed to protect and love them are always going to take it personally. And unfortunately, they're going to associate love with pain because that's been normalized for them. Abuse has been normalized for them. The only bridge that was ever built was the bridge of abuse. And because we talk about this, people who get maybe a memory triggered off, I don't think it's a memory triggered off. They get perspective on the things that they went through and recognize, because we talk about it, that that isn't okay, and they don't need to be in relationships with people who hurt them, and love is not pain. My goal is that the youth of today will find me, and they will know they are not alone, and that if someone is mistreating them, abusing them, hurting them in any way, shape, or form, that they don't take it personally, that it's not their fault. I want to build a bridge for them to gain self-esteem and understanding that it was never about them, and it's always about who the abuser is. That's a bridge to be built. But what you're talking about is that very typical sweep it under the rug. Don't take it personally. Your parent, your person who abused you, that it's just a mirror of their wounds after all. Don't blame them. Disgusting. Like, next level disgusting. Whew. I think you had more to say. Let me check it out so that I can make sure that I shut you down in your entirety. And by the way, you can subscribe to me, follow me, whatever. I don't care. You know, you can't hurt me. I am not someone that can be penetrated by your words in a way that they cause me pain. In fact, what you have done here is you have made me just shout, or I hate to say made me, I don't want to give you any credit for anything. Words like yours, comments like yours, just give me an opportunity to help other survivors find their voice and not internalize and take personally your stupidity. How about that? Okay, so I'm going to read the rest of the comment. Yeah, there is more. I'm sure of it. Oh my gosh. We all need to develop and practice the experience of love and kindness first before we are able to give this to others. Please remember this. Wow. Every child on the planet deserves to be born into a home where they are safe, cared for, and loved, and that they experience kindness, particularly from their own parents. That's where it needs to start. And that being said, because my love and kindness that I received was painful, was rejecting, was child abuse, the love and kindness that I gave was to anybody who would show me a moment of what looked even moderately nice or kind. I would give them my soul for that. I would do anything I could to shower them with the love and kindness that I have in my heart, even if they hurt me, because that's what I was taught I was supposed to do. Do you understand that children who grow up in abuse spend the majority of their at least young adulthood and pretty much all of their childhood, when they can, trying to earn acceptance through showering others with their love and kindness? And guess what's not happening in that? Those children aren't learning how to love themselves and be kind to themselves. They're learning that they don't deserve that, but that other people do, and that they should provide that. I would love for people out there who are watching this video and this part of it, please comment in on this part of it in particular. What does this mean to you? Because what it means to me is that you are saying to people who survived abuse that we should give love and kindness irregardless of what we went through to the people who did it to us. That's what this is really, really saying to me. And I want you to know I give a ton of love and kindness. First and foremost, I now give it to myself. I don't abuse my body anymore. I used to have disordered eating. I was like less than 90 pounds at one point. I don't create my own chaos by spending all my money and not being able to pay my rent. I haven't done that, and I don't even know how long. I didn't even know that's what I was doing to myself. I didn't understand I was abusing myself with money. I don't use relationships to abuse myself anymore at all, ever. End of story. And do you know why? Because I went to therapy and I learned that the accountability and the blame for all the things I went through as a child belong to the adults who were in that situation who chose not to even attempt to do better. I went to therapy to figure out that I was worthy. I had to have a therapist fill my cup to show me what my value and worth was, and that nothing of that happened as a child to me was my fault. I should have received that from my family, but the fact is they were never my family. We're just relatives. We're connected by blood, DNA, that's it. And that connection made them feel entitled to the titles that they have to do whatever they wanted. And we shall never leave, right? Your comment reeks of all that kind of stuff that keeps abuse victims in place. And I'm very proud to say that today in my life, I treat myself in a way that I make sure I always feel safe, seen, and cherished. And because I love myself that much, I will never tolerate any type of relationship with another being that doesn't provide me with the same feelings that I provide for myself. And those people that do, they receive unlimited love and kindness from me. And those people who don't, just simply don't have access to me. So, you know, I do wish you a good day, because I'm not going to lower myself to the standard of wishing you the kind of day that you deserve. I thank you for the comment. I hope that maybe something I've said in my response to you maybe makes you think a little bit. I doubt it, because you sound pretty hardcore toxic positivity to me. And, you know, but hey, I can always hope, right? And regardless of whether or not you actually take anything away from what I've said to stop shaming and blaming victims and enabling abuse and all of that sort of thing, I know with 100 bajillion% certainty that there's somebody out there right now who is watching this video, who's connecting to it, and who's finding their voice as a result. I know that for sure. So really, that's my purpose of being here, is to help heal people who want healing, who want understanding, to make sure that nobody feels alone out there. Because when I was going through all of my abuse, instead of mirroring my isolation onto other people, I wanted to know that I wasn't alone, and I had no way to connect. So I'm not mirroring what I went through. I am doing the opposite of that and providing for others what I wish I had. That's actually what we're supposed to do.